Hello. Good morning. Ah, this thing is too low or something. Something's off. Like that? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's get onto the screen and minimize that nonsense. And that nonsense. Get my chat in the right place so I can actually see it. Oh damn. Okay, let me just get my YouTube up and running. And there we go. YouTube runs, Twitch runs. We are ready to go. Let's do it. Okay. So here's the idea. Right, we need to finish off our little duck friend. Right, he's almost there, but like his ability and some of the sound effects, and there are some visual effects that I would like to add as well that we need to get to. Then I want to rework the level and the general game like mechanics. So this is what I thought. I want to make the level size. So it's a little bit less than a quarter of the level size previously. Yeah, and the main reason for that, well, it's like compounding reasons. First of all, it's quite a lot of space to run around in for a survival game, right? So the idea, if you think about this, so I tested it, right, a couple of times yesterday, and what had happened is when you start a level, it could take like 17 seconds before there's first contact sometimes. It could even be longer. Sometimes it's not that long because you start right next to a spawn point. But you know what I mean. That's kind of dumb, right? So if I want a wave or a level to be like 2 minutes long, which is generally speaking a good amount of time for a survival-like game, right? If you think about it like Vampire Survivors, a whole run is like half an hour. And then you get hyper runs, which are like 15 minutes, right? And that's a good session for a survivor game, I think. And it's the same with Brotato. I don't know about other games, but okay. So for those two, at least, that's what it is. So I want to get it down to that. Now, you can imagine if you have a 2-minute level and it takes 17 odd seconds before you even see an enemy, that's kind of dumb, right? You're just running around at that point. So that is kind of stupid. And it would take you somewhere close to 30 seconds, right? Or maybe even more, honestly, to run from that end of the map, right? Let's say you had to clear a totem on that side to that side. And that's also kind of bad, right? And what happened very often is, let's say you run from there to there, and then you get this totem, but there was a totem right here, but you can't see it because it's such a big space. You just kind of run past it. Then you run back. So now you've done that's 30 seconds, another 15 seconds. You've been running around looking for totems for 45 seconds out of the 2 minutes that level is going to be long, right? So you can kind of tell how this can be an issue. So with a game area that's this size, I think the slowest character takes 13 seconds to go from end to end, right? And that's way better, right? It's still a larger area, but it's not that bad. right? You could go the Vampire Survivors route, where it doesn't matter how long it takes you to reach the end of the map, or you just make the map infinite, because that's what they do. But then you have to rework the way spawning works, because now they need to just spawn off screen always, and you can't really have a lot of incentive for the people to move around. Or if you do, it's fine if they take half an hour. They can move to some end of the map over a 5-minute period in Vampire Survivors, because it's one long level, right? You're not changing up the levels. But I want to change up the levels. And you're changing out characters, etc., etc. So there's no real... It's not really going to work that way. Okay. The other thing is the amount of enemies. Right. To fill up a space like this, so it's interesting and feels survivor-like, you need probably a couple of thousand of enemies. Right? Now you can imagine what that would mean in terms of performance. It's a bit of a nightmare, right? So instead of doing that, I thought, you know what? If we have a smaller area, you can get the same level of hectic or insane, or whatever you want to call it, but the same level of, chaos and interaction with only a couple of hundred enemies. And if there's only a couple of hundred enemies, I also don't need to worry about optimization with the nav mesh as much as I do now, because currently I do a lot of nav mesh optimization nonsense, switching it on and off, and that causes a bunch of bugs, right? And I had to either fix the bugs or just change the approach entirely, and I think I'm just going to change the approach entirely. So yeah, so that's my thinking, that's my reasoning for making the world smaller, or the level smaller. So what I'll do is I'll have this be like a arena section. So you have an arena, right? And around the arena we'll have like our little camps and stuff. And then the enemies can still spawn from the camps and walk into the arena to come fight you. But the point would not be to try and clutter this with a bunch of enemy camps and stuff like that. In addition to that, I want to change the way the level progresses and how it ends and stuff like that. So that's going to be my plan for today. But first, let's get this ninja duck all nice and sorted. So there's a couple of things that we just know that we have to go and do. And the first one would be, I think, just the bleeding effect on the enemies. So let's go look at that. So if we dig down into the basic enemy, so we have our status effect here: poison, stun, and fire. And we can duplicate the poison effect again, like we did the previous time, but this time we call it the bleed effect. Okay, and you'd remember that the fire has this glow, which is a reddish glow. So we need the same bleed glow. Okay, so this would obviously be red as well. Let's make it like a dark red, like something like that. Okay, and we don't have to do anything else. And then we need to find some kind of a particle that could look like that could work, right? So the poison one is like the little floaty, bubbly things. Standard one is obviously the stars. So how do we do bleed effects? We could... Okay, so one of the ideas that I have is if we go look at our effects, I don't think this one has bleed, does it? Let's see what's in the prefabs. Okay, so we have the bleed damage number, obviously. Blood. Okay, that's still the damage number stuff. Okay, we have a blood splat small. Okay, so we have these blood splats and blood splats small. And so what we can do is maybe have this effect play every once in a while. Yeah, maybe let's do that. So it's kind of like it gushes, right? So every once in a while. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, so let's... jeez. So we'll do the small blood splat. Drag it in there. Get rid of the poison. Okay. Do we do play on awake? I think yes. We play on awake and then we play it every so often. Okay, let's see just how this looks. So if we just make this thing... okay, let's look at it on the enemy. Yeah, now it's in the right place. Where do we want to put this effect? Do we want to put it down? And then maybe... I don't know, rotate it like 90 degrees there. Okay, so it's a cone shape. Okay, it really doesn't have a lot. This is it. This is the whole thing. What happens if I rotate this? Okay. I kind of like that more. Yeah, let's use that. Okay, let's just go into the base enemy. And let's just paste component values. Okay, now we just need to go position it in the correct place for each enemy type. But I think that's gonna look okay. Okay, now the other thing, so in our, I think, status effect manager. Okay, so obviously our bleed damage number is fine, but our effect is not okay. Okay, if I make this looping, actually, let's just see what that means. So every 2 seconds. Okay, what if we make it loop every 1 second, so every second tick? Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, so there's our bleed effect then. Right, I think this should actually already work the way I want it to, for the most part. I think the only thing I would like to do is just rotate this 90 degrees so it bleeds in that direction. Okay, we can stop it. Okay, and we can switch this off. We can go to this guy and then just make sure it is correct, because obviously I rotated it. Yeah, but that is perfect. Okay, so the simple melee enemies got it good. This guy, let's just see the bleeding effect. Guess I kind of want it. Somewhere we can see it. Yeah, something like that, maybe. We'll see how it looks. We can obviously go and fiddle with it later. For each of the enemies, let's look at the Komodo. Okay, definitely not on top of your head. I think this should come down. Okay, and then the last one, it'd be the crocodile. This one's gonna be a bit awkward. Yeah, because he's massive. Okay, did I switch it off for all of them? Probably didn't switch it off for any of them. So let's just go do that. Okay, I did switch it off for the frog. The frog, and then just this guy. Okay, there we go. So we can test this one quickly. See what it looks like. We can... Yeah, let's just add all the enemies. For now, I think I'm going to switch off my spawn. And then we're going to change the spawn entirely anyway. So that's going to be good. Then I don't have to do it this dumb way anymore. Okay, let's just see how they bleed. If it looks any good. Okay, that's not so bad. Okay, so the particle effects just give you that little bit extra, so I think that works well. Okay, cool. I like that. It's good enough, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. But it's definitely better. Okay, now we need to do some things about his attacks in general, right? Okay, so okay, so let's see. You know, he does his attack. I would like him to have some kind of a swish. Yeah, something like these polygon slashes that we have for the knight. Let's actually create an empty and just call it visual effects for now, and then let's go look for some. So some of the ones, I think I saw some nice ones here that I haven't really used. Where were they? Ooh, I want to use... I'm just going to show you this one. But I really want to use this for something. How cool will that be as an ability? Yes, I think that'll be so cool. But yeah, one day we'll get there. Okay, we want something like a slash. Yeah, something like that. Hey, this swirl could actually work as well. sword slash. This is pretty cool as well. Let's try the sword slash. Oh. Yeah, don't replace. We just want the sword slash inside of visual effects. And then I like this swirl thing. So we got something that looks like that. Okay, so that's a bit... Oh, then we have a fast swirl. Let's take the fast swirl. Okay, so that might be for his other attacks, obviously. Okay, so let's see. We can have this one, we can duplicate it. Let's just hide this one for now. Okay, let's pause it and let's try to go back in time a little bit. Okay, something like that. And we should also get the duck to be in like attack 1. Right, this is where he hits. Okay, then we lock this as well. Then we take the sword slash. We move it up and over. So how long is this? This is 25 over 30. Yeah, so that's a pretty quick. Okay, so if that is the arc, let's just see. Yeah, I think that'll actually work pretty well. So this hit happens at the 6th frame, which is okay, this might be too quick. 0.08 seconds. So 6th frame, that is 6 over 30. What's that? 0.2 seconds, roughly. And this is like 0.1 second. So we would want... yeah, okay. What is... Okay, 1 over 30. So each of these 0.3, each frame is 0.333, right? So if we want that to be 0.09, we need to go 1, 2, 3 frames back and add a play event here for our attack 1 slash effect, right? Okay. Then the other one, we want attack 2, so let's see. Okay, that's where he hits. Okay, so this one's going to be a bit more tricky. So restart. Restart, pause. We want to go back to... Hey, it's Rayman. Just like it. You haven't been here in a while, eh? You've missed a lot of stuff. You've missed a many a thing. But it's cool. Just like it. What have you missed? I don't even know. There's been so many things. Ah, you've been sick. Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay, so I need to rotate this slash. Oh, damn it. Okay, we have the sparks. Okay, we need to rotate all of these stuff. Okay. Also, this needs to be... Okay, so let's 0.09. Okay, and then let's rotate everything. No, man. Okay, which is the one that I really need? Sparks up, sparks down. I think it's this one. What are you? Okay, go away. Okay, that's not the slash. Okay, what are you? That's also not the thing I'm looking for. How do I rotate this damn thing? My word. Okay, no rotation. I don't understand. Yeah, man, to be honest. We've been doing so many things. Actually kind of crazy. Yeah, look there. Okay, so I don't know if you've met all the characters, right? So we have now a fourth character. You might have seen the other three. We have 4 enemy types now. All the characters have multiple attacks and abilities. What else happened? I think those are the highlights, at least. And then, okay, today I want to rebuild the whole world because I don't like what I've been doing here. So that's today's job. But yeah, I mean, well, I just need to finish giving this guy visual effects and stuff, and then I can rebuild the world. It's just a bit annoying. So, like, I can rotate those sparks, but it doesn't rotate anything else. I want to rotate that swishing thing, but why does it not? Like, which part of this effect is it? It should be the main one, right? It is this one. Okay, what happens if I move this? Okay. So I need to do the 3D start rotation. I need to change. Okay. So which one rotates it in the axis I like? Okay. That one. Yeah, it seems like it's a... You need to change the rotation. So if you tick this, I think it overrides that rotation on the transform, which it's news to me anyway. Okay, so if we move this forward, we can align it with our slash. Actually, I don't know if it's aligned at all. Not at all, right? So he starts up there, so let's rotate it so it's like that. So now when he hits, so he kind of follows. Okay, so now obviously how did I get it this flippin' crooked? Anyway, let's move it there. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? You won't even notice that it's this squiff. Okay, and now... Okay, now we need to rotate it again. Am I animating it? You mean the... The duck? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Oh no. Okay, that's not the rotation I want. This is the rotation I want. There we go. Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to add effects to the attack animations, right? So that it looks a bit better. So now I just need to get them to line up. So that's 0, so I have to go 3 frames back. And this is where I need to add a starting point for this animation. Okay, so now what we do is we just go into the Duck Ninja animation script. Oh, apparently I haven't opened this yet. And I just need to add functions to play the attacks. Yeah, it won't be hits. So we could do just something like public void attack effect. And let's take an int attack num again. Right, and then we can just say something similar to what we do here. Sort of. So it's not going to be on hit, it's going to be on attack effect 1 and on attack effect 2. Right, and then we could just do if we have attack num equals to 1. We just do on attack effect 1 dot invoke, and then else if I don't have to do that, but you know, whatever, on attack effect 2 dot invoke. Ugh, why did it do 21? Okay, there we go. So now we will invoke these. So what we do then is we just have to go hey, this guy, happy. Thank you, thank you. I am glad it's arrived. Happy middle of the weekend for you. I could do a switch case, yes. I kind of don't have to. An if else is more than sufficient. I could even do a much simpler if else, to be honest. I didn't even need the else if. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's weekend. Okay, so now this one we wanna. How are you doing? Has it been a good weekend for you so far? Is your whole Saturday already over? Okay, so now we invoke attack 1, attack 2. We invoke the effects as well. So then all we need to do is just drag them in there. So this effect would be aligned. Ah, jeez. I hate it when I do that. Lock yourself. Okay, so the first effect is aligned with the first effect, the second one with the second effect, and all we need to do is do particle system play and particle system play. There we go. I think that's it, actually. I think I've done it. A nice chill weekend. Yes, I want one of those. I don't want to go anywhere or do anything. It's been a rough week. Anyway. Okay, and so they play on awake. I should switch that off, but let's see. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, wait, let's... we don't have a lot of things to attack. Ah, damn it. Okay, I'm not running all the way over there. Let's switch on the Komodo. Oh, this is locked again. Komodo, come at me. I want to fight you. That looks kind of cool, right? I don't know. It's pretty fine. I like that. The little spark. Huh? What's happening? Oh, he can't. Okay. So you might have noticed I've shrunk the world. Dinja is amazing. I like the Dinja. I see what you did there. I really like the Dinja. I think he's one of my cooler characters, to be honest. We definitely, my wife started yesterday reworking the owl. Because he just doesn't fit into this lineup so lekker. He looks a bit loopy. I don't know. In comparison to the rest. He's a bit of a goofball. So yeah, she's gonna work with him. Try to get him on the same at least style. Make him a little bit more serious. Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna go with serious characters, but like the other three look pretty serious to me. Like, look at these. Look at this. Look at this guy's eyes. Whoopsie. Okay. So he's got some effects. Now we need to get him an effect. Okay, so first let's just do play on awake off. They don't play on awake. They only play when they are told to play. And then okay, why am I looking at that one now? Okay, so now we just need I want to do something with this for his spinning attack, right? Yeah. So let's just move it a bit up. So if we look at his move attack, right, he just does a bunch of those. Yeah, I think this is okay. Is it roughly on the right height? Can go a bit up. That's already kind of the right size as well. Yeah. So I think we already have start spinning and end spinning. So we should already be able to. So okay, first of all, let's just say play on awake off. And we should already be able to go to start spinning and stop spinning and just add this particle effect. And tell them to play and stop. Right, let's see, and then I just need to fix my sound effects a little bit, and then we're there. Then this guy is done. Then I want to change my level design. Okay, so let's see. So you're doing this thing, and then you go. Okay, so I definitely want to change that sound effect, right? That sound effect still comes from the... Look at the cool blood effect. Look at him bleeding out there on the floor. So the bleeding doesn't do a lot of damage, but at least... obviously, you know how these spells work. Since they tick, if you even get one upgrade, it just makes it. Yeah, this one, I thought that exact thing because it starts a little bit too late, right? So we can pre-warm. Do you just tick pre-warm? Is that it? Is that the whole thing that you have to do? Okay. I guess so. And I might change the duration. No, I don't have to do that. Maybe I do. I don't know. It's looping, but still. Oh, jeez. Did it actually spawn? It spawned a house right here. Okay, I didn't even... Yeah, okay, so... I kind of like the effects. I think they're pretty cool. Okay, so the effect doesn't quite stop when I want it to, right? So currently it stops. When does it stop? I think it stops a bit too late because let's see. Where's my, there's my stop spinning. So stop spinning only gets called there. And technically we could stop it like there. What is this? Foot right. Okay, well we can use that. So we can just do foot right. Is this the only foot right? No, okay, wait, that's not gonna work. Then he's gonna... Yeah, every time there's a foot right, so when he walks around, he's also gonna mess with it. Okay, then we just add another thing there, and we can do... Okay, so the attack effect works. Stop spinning, start spinning. So the stop spinning obviously uses what is working in the background for a couple of other things as well. So let's just do stop spinning effect. Right, and then we can just do a on stop spinning effect. Just like that. Okay, so we don't do the stop there, so we can just get rid of that one, and then we add it to this one. Particle system stop. So now we stop it a little bit sooner, and I can change that one now without affecting other stuff. That's like oh wait, I didn't. Okay. I didn't check it. I didn't do the thing. Yeah, it doesn't call a function. Stop spinning effect. There we go. Now it's working. Okay, and I can obviously just move that very easily if it's still a bit laggy. If I need to move it up. Maybe a smidge, right? Take that. Take that. I also need him to use spell juice. I just realized I don't actually use spell juice at all. He can just do this infinitely. I got them all. Okay. So let's just... I want to tweak this a little bit, so let's just move it back 2 frames, I think. 2 frames is good enough. And then we just need to go fix the... Okay. Where do we use spell juice again? I can't remember. Okay, so here we do it on spawn bomb, for instance, for the ranger. So the ninja... I want to actually... Isn't it just in character manager? Let's see. So in character manager, we check... Okay, so on-game input. So this is how we play the special attack, I believe. Oh, I need to tick. Okay. Yeah, I thought I already coded this, but yeah, okay. So all I need to do is in the character data, I need to tick this box that says he uses spell juice whenever he does his ability. And that's it. Then it just works. It just works. I think. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, spell juice went down. Ah, damn it. Okay, yeah. I don't know if I like the little spark that he makes when he hits something. The problem is they kind of swing their swords sometimes when there's nothing to hit. And then it still makes the spark. I like the blood gushing out of the enemies. Anyway. Okay, I think we're there. So we could obviously tweak some other things if we really wanted, but I think we are mostly there. Trigger the sparks on collision. Then I'd have to unpack this thing a little bit. I don't know, actually. Right, because it's... the sparks are now down here. Those are the sparks. Yeah, I could hook into the damage event. Somehow. Yeah, that's not actually that difficult. So if you look at the script for the special attack, ninja special attack, it's got a hit enemies in attack zone function that it calls. I could make an if statement here that just says, if enemy colliders greater than 0, right, or not null, or whatever the case might be, or if the length of this enemy colliders is greater than 0, we can add the sparks. It's a bit weird. I don't know actually how that would work. So, okay, so let's look at the attack. So the attack, the effect gets triggered there, right, on that frame. And then the hit gets called right there, okay, somewhere. So what we should do is when the hit gets called, we should check. I just don't know if the effect is already playing. What do? I don't play these again because it is playing. Or do I play these again? I get what you're saying. So you get a hit position and then you pass the spark and you initiate sparks at that position. That sounds very cool, but I kind of don't want to do that. Because what you'd need to find on the collider, and I know you can do this technically, you can find the collision point, right? Between two colliders that overlap, and then you can spark it there. Okay, I don't want to go that way. Okay, first of all, my swords obviously I don't have colliders on them. I just work with a sphere, so the damage is done in that sphere. So that'll look kind of weird. It's possible, obviously, if I want to go down that route. I'm not sure if I want to go down that route, though. So all this thing does is it just gets a list of everything that it collided with. Well, that's at least the only thing I want from it. I don't know if it returns the colliders so that I have a reference for each enemy that I hit, and then I just apply the damage to each of those enemies. Oh no, this is the special attack, sorry. Special attack is a different thing. Yeah, this is the special attack. So technically I would have to do this, but in the general melee attack damage that I use I use this now for the duck and the chicken, right? Because they have melee attacks. So if I wanted to do that, I could do it in here, and then it would do it for the knight and the chicken. Would it not be easier? I'm just thinking. Okay, so you do the hit enemies in attack zone. You get the enemy and you apply a hit. Right? It sounds easier to me, and it might not be precise, but to just have the enemy quickly play a little pop-up. Kind of like the damage number, right? But also what I'm thinking now, the spark looks cool. My other problem with the spark is swords don't spark against flesh. They spark when they hit some other kind of metal. And all my sound effects are fleshy sound effects. And all my characters or enemies don't really have armor. So I don't know. I'm overthinking it probably. But then again, I could also just not have the sparks and then everything kind of works out. I'll chuck this into the future... potential future improvements, balance or polish, right? I don't need to polish the sparks right now. What I could also do is play the blood squirting effect when you hit enemies instead, right? Because all my sound effects when you hit enemies are this fleshy sound, right? So I could then actually just cut them and then have some blood squirt out instead of a spark. That might be even better. And the game gets a bit gory, I guess, but okay, for now let's chuck that into a future polish pile, And for now, we'll just do the slash effect like we do with the knight. Let's keep it the same. Yeah, I mean that looks. It's like 95% of the effect, right? That last 5% might make a difference, but it sounds like, you know, the 80-20 principle. You do 80% of the work, or you get 80% of the benefit in 20% of the time, and then this last 20% that we want to squeeze out with the spark is going to take me most of the time to figure out. I think. I don't know exactly, but it might. It feels like it will. And I already get like 80% of the benefit from having those slash effects anyway. Okay, so now I just need to change my sound effects a little bit because he screams like a chicken when he does his little swirly attack thing. So let's see. Why is that? Why does he scream like a chicken? I think special attack. Where do I set that actually? Do I do that in the... Is this in the animator? Yeah. Okay, yeah. There's this one. Okay, so let's just go there. Amen. Okay, so we have this special attack sound effect. So we need the duck ninja sounds. He doesn't really have a lot of unique sounds. So we just need a sound effect like this, I guess. And we can do play duck special attack sound effect and or maybe it's a vocalization instead. Play duck special attack vocalization. And then this one I should rename to play chicken special vocalization sounder. Okay. Okay, duck special vocalization sound, so we need to go change this as well, I think. That would be in our audio clip. Okay, we just want something like this somewhere there. And it's just gonna be duck spatial vocalization, and this would be duck. Ninja sounds. Okay, now I just need to find him a vocalization that's not the same as the chicken. Let's go look for my anime vocalization pack, which I keep losing because I haven't put it in the right folder yet. Okay. Male adult, I think so. Fighting. This is gonna be hard, isn't it? I hate finding flippin' sound effects. Maybe it's a jump sound. Doesn't sound like a jump sound. Ha. Oh, these sound effects are funny. Do we want just like a short and then that's it? Or do we play this light attack hit every time, or like every time he hits during the spin? It is just like, I don't know if that would be good. I should have other vocalizations somewhere. Let's see if there's something that's not anime. Okay, I got this one. This is Western, so I don't think this is gonna work so nicely. Horse voice. Oh, okay. Is that what that means? Okay, this really doesn't help me at all. Carnage. Carriage. Yeah, no, I can't read. Okay. So the Western pack doesn't help at all. Okay, let's look at the medieval fantasy pack. Could there be anything in here? Voices. That's not a lot, is it? Why is there so many female voices? Yeah, that's pretty useless. Okay, let's try again in the Pro Sound collection. Surely something somewhere would have the sounds I need. I need voice. Let's just try human male. Coughing, effort grunt. It's not what I need, actually, at all. Okay, wait. She would just have him shout for the whole duration. That's pretty funny.
George! Oh, yeah. 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 Ha. Yeah. Ha.
Who uses these attacks? I recognize these. Okay, let's see human male B. Ooh, I like that one. Does that sound like something the duck will do? It's not very ninja, is it? This is so odd. That sounds cool, actually. Okay, let's try that one. I'm gonna try that one. So we go back here and we go to our sounds, and then we just have one for the duck. I think so. That's all what I wanted to do. Create new folder. Duck Ninja. Stick that in there. And then in our... we need our audio clips. Can we find voice _ male? Okay, we definitely use these already. Battle Shout 10. Okay, let's check. So in our animator, let's play that instead then. Special. Okay, we don't need the charge sound. Okay, play special duck special vocalization sound. Okay, and I think if that sounds fine, we're basically done with the duck. Then we get to do level redesign stuff, which I'm kinda in the mood for, I must say. Wait, are we just playing the wrong thing now? I think I'm playing the wrong thing. What the hell am I playing? What did I play? Play duck special vocalization sound. Oh, I didn't change this. This should be duck special vocalization, right? Okay, let's try that again. So many things you have to change every time. Okay, let's see. Almost feels like we want a much shorter sound. Kind of like these as well. It could also be the problem that I should attach these to the duck like I do with the chicken. The wizard. Right, so the wizard sound effect plays on top of the wizard. Not... Yeah, that might be the way I have to do that, because the wizard, yeah, I have this audio source attached that we play. Which is not perfect, but yeah, that is how we do it. How do I actually play the sound effect? I remember we wrote a script for that, but I can't remember. I can't remember where I played the sound effect, really. It would have been in here. Maybe it's in the damage script. Might have been in the damage script for the flamethrower. Yeah, but anyway, so you do this because since your character is moving, he doesn't leave his voice behind, right? Or the sound effect should follow him. So you have to attach it to the character. Well... Okay, but let's try this new sound effect for the audio manager. Okay, audio. So we'll just do it the same way. I'll just get rid of this one. Go to the Duck Ninja. So let's do these 4. And see how they sound, right? Maybe they are okay. Yeah, but it is kind of weird that you spin away from your voice. Okay, that is way better in terms of like the length and the effect. I think I like that one more. Yeah. So we just need to attach it to our character. So, yeah, how does that work? So obviously I can make an audio source, attach it to the character, and then just change out the clip. Right, technically. So let's go look at our scripts for the wizard. So the flamethrower damage. Where the hell do I play the sound? It's actually not here. Now, what script did I put that in? Surely it's not in the animation, is it? Yep, it's in the animation. Okay, so this is where I play the sound. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Because the animator knows about when to start and stop the sound, technically. But still, I don't think I would do it here. Okay, so yeah, we play the sound. Yeah, so our flamethrower audio dot play when we shoot, and the flamethrower audio we obviously have. It's an audio source we plugged in, right? So we can do the same thing. We don't have to do it on the animation. Right, we can just play the sound inside our Ninja special attack, right here instead. So what we can do is go away, GPUs. Bad. We could add our our audio clips here, and then I could just change out them basically randomly, like I do with the audio manager or my sound manager, essentially, right? We have our list of clips. Yeah, just a random range, something like this. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So okay, so we'll put the private audio clip array, and we'll just call this the attack or special vocalizations. Okay, so we get that, and then we should also get the audio source. Serialize field, private audio source. Let's just call it the audio source. Okay. So public void play play special attack vocalization. Okay, and then effectively we do something like, okay, we need to get a audio clip. Okay, so it'd be something like this. But we're just gonna do okay, we can and so we just get a random clip. But what we want to do is audio source dot clip. This is, we can set it equal to, right? Okay, so we change the clip to whatever that returns, right? This should return a clip from our special attack vocalizations. So when we play it, we get a random one like that, and we just do audio source dot play, right? And that should work, I think. So we set the clip do a random one, and then we play it. Right, so all we need to do now is in our Duck Ninja, we need to add a component, audio source, that we plug in there. And then our vocalization sound thingies, we get them over there. Like that. Okay, so it would change the audio resource, I suppose. And then it would play. The priority should be like 3 or something. The volume, full volume, I don't actually know. Let's make it 0.5 for now. The pitch can be the same, and yeah. Let's just leave that stuff. We can obviously tweak this if we feel like it sounds weird. But yeah, okay, so that should do most of it. We just need to play it now inside of our, I think, our animator, effectively. Right. Okay, yeah, so this thing is doing it on special attack start. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, so on special attack start. Am I blind? Do we not have an event for that? That seems weird. Really? Let's see, move attack. So we have a on special attack start right there. Well, we can do it on start spinning, right? That's also fine. Let's just do it that way. So let's just do when we start the spinning, we can also play our sound, I think. Could play special attack vocalization there. Okay. Let's have a go. Let's have a go. See how it sounds. Maybe it doesn't fade out now. Maybe it's too loud. Who knows? Okay, so he does actually change the sound on random. It's a bit loud, so let's just make it like 0.3. Let's make the pitch 1.2. So I think he has a higher pitched voice than that. Wow, that makes a big difference. The pitch, I mean. Damn. 1.05. And we can even make it 0.25, I think, on the volume. Okay, let's make it 1.1. Yeah, I like that. So 0.25 and 1.1 pitch. Okay, cool. We got it. We did it. We did it. He's making sounds that are different and unique. I like it. Okay, guys. I think we can finally update this level. I am so ready for that because I think it's going to make the gameplay feel a million times better. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to quickly take a break, grab myself a refill on my coffee, and then we'll come back and we'll fix all this nonsense. And I think it's going to be a very, very much better once we've done that. Now, this is going to take a while because we need to not only fix the level design, but we need to revamp the whole level or the whole game loop in a sense, right? To make it work with the new level layouts that I'm planning on having. Okay, so let me just throw you guys something else to look at. There, that thing moves. You can look at that. And I'll be back in like a minute. Maybe I should play an ad. Then at least we don't have to watch an ad when I come back for a while. Right, I think I'm going to do that. So, yeah, check you now. Yeah, I have returned. How was the ad? Anything good? Okay. Let's get going. So here's the idea. So let's just go through it again. So I have... you know what I didn't do? I didn't do any of my time tracking stuff. Damn it. Okay, let me go fix that quickly. So time tracker. We worked on the Ninja So we just start, get some time going, stop it again, and then we just have to open up. So we didn't start at 5, we started at like 3. I think it was 3:30 today. Yeah. Okay, but that's okay. So now we're gonna... what are we gonna do? We're gonna change. We're gonna basically have a new thing, and it's gonna be map update and game loop overall. Okay, let's just open this up. So this is part of the Chicken Night project. It's got multiple time entries probably. So let's start. Okay. Now, here's the idea, right? Like I said, this map's too big. It takes like more than... yeah, I think it takes more than 30 seconds to run from one end to the other. And we don't want... This is not meant to be a game where you have to, you know, explore and do all these other kind of things. It's not some open world RPG. It's a survivor-like game. We want people to spend like 2 minutes, maybe 3 on the high end per wave or per level, and then move on to the next level, right? So it doesn't make any sense to have a world that's so big that it takes you 30 seconds just to run from one end to the other. In addition to that, the fact that we had those little camps everywhere meant that you had to run from one end to the other sometimes. And it just artificially lengthened the wave time, which felt bad, right? I didn't like that. So the first thing we have to do then is just make it smaller, make the world smaller. And that should help quite a bit with that problem. So with this size block, basically the enemy, you would take like between 10 and 13 about seconds to traverse it. 13 is the slowest it was, which is much better, right? Also what happened with the big one is sometimes you'd be over here, the enemy spawn there, and it takes them, like if it's a frog spawn, right? You can take them like 17 seconds to reach you. Right, imagine that. You're playing a game, one round is meant to be like 2 minutes, and the first 17 seconds you're just waiting for this frog to make it to you. Like, that doesn't feel good. Also, the bigger map caused a lot of problems with collisions and stuff like that, it would be kind of cool if I could fix those. So, here's the idea. Small map, right? Enemies spawn on the periphery. We have a kind of an arena, right? So this is where all the fighting is happening. Enemies can spawn from here in their camps. And we also don't need or have to kill totems anymore. I think I'm going to abandon that idea. And I'm going to go with a timed wave idea. So the reason I want to do it like that is because it could also add more replayability and different strategies for playing the game. So let's say, for instance, let's just take two extremes. You play a high damage team, right? You make a team that's the ranger, the ninja, the flippin' the wizard, because he's high damage, right? And the whole point is to kill the enemies as quickly as possible, right? So to not have them actually pile up on top of you, because that's when it gets a bit awkward, right? What we can also do with the small areas, we can limit the amount of enemies to like 200, and it's going to feel insane because it's a small area, right? Even 200 enemies in this area is going to be a lot of enemies. But anyway, so you could play it like, I want to kill the enemies as quickly as possible. Okay, and that's fine. You could do it like that, right? And the enemies will keep coming until the wave is over, but you'll never let that get out of hand. But you could also, theoretically, play a team comp where you only have tanky, slow characters. Like, let's say we have the knight, then we might have a priest or a healer type character in the future, a paladin or something like that, a barbarian. Like, these guys could do some damage, but they are mostly survivors, right? They don't clear the wave, they survive the wave, if that makes sense. And then, so you don't have to spec heavily into damage or anything like this. You could just play like a pacifist run if you really wanted to, right? You could do it that way. And then the idea would be like there's maybe a big totem that you have to get, that you have to destroy, but you don't destroy it by just hitting it. You like set it on fire or plant some magical bomb at its base or whatever the case might be. And then you just need to fend off, or maybe, you just being on the level drains the corruption magic from this totem over time. So you just have to be in the level for a certain amount of time. Or whatever the case might be, right? And then when it runs out of corruption damage, or corruption magic, or it burns down, or it explodes, or whatever the case might be, the level ends. Okay? Well, that's at least the idea. So you never have to clear the level. So that gives you a little bit more freedom to play in different ways. Now, obviously, we could make it so that there are benefits to killing the enemies, like you get more loot drops, right? More money. But there might be drawbacks as well. So if you kill the enemies too fast, we could actually now artificially increase the spawn rate. So that as the level goes on, the enemies spawn faster and it becomes more difficult to clear them. We could also say that if you don't clear them and you just run around, try to survive, that they can always also gain power. They might become more dangerous in like the amount of damage they do, the few that are there. Maybe they fuse together and they create some whatever, something like that. So that feels like we have more options available to us, so that's what I'm going to try and do. Okay, but with all that being said, we need to go in here and we need to fix this. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this, I think I want to have prefabs of levels. And then I would literally just go, because you can imagine, like, this is the size of the world now. If this was a level, I could have all 10 levels, stacked next to each other in this area. And then we don't even load levels. We just move our character from one block to the next. And it feels like it's a new level, but it's really not that big a deal. It's just the same kind of thing. Right, we can pre-build them all. We don't have to be fancy with the code or anything like that. That could be a way that we do it, right? Okay, so but the first thing, I think I'm going to get rid of this outside level area. I think that was not needed. It's a mistake. You know what we should do, actually? Before we do any of that, let's just save. Because this is going to be a big refactor. And let's just go make sure we check in everything that we have right now. So this is going to be okay, so duck is done. Game. Let's just say game loop overall. Okay. Now we check it in. We have a version control. So if we want to roll back or if we want to ever check what we had, we can. This is obviously, I'm going to get rid of so much code and stuff that I've written specifically for the way the camps work, but you know, I think it's fine. Okay. So, what do we want to do? So I think the first thing we should do is we should make the border wall this level and potentially what else? So I think these two things are probably definitely gonna have to be in a level. Maybe the nav mesh, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Okay, but let's create empty parent for those, and then we'll do this. Let's just call it a base level prefab. Right. And then we can go into prefabs and we can create a folder, levels. Okay, and the first prefab that goes in here would be our base level. Okay, now let's work on this. So the first thing I think we should get, like I said, rid of the outside level. That's too much, right? We can have decorations and objects, right? That's not a problem. But let's get rid of them for now. So we work with a blank slate, right? This is going to be... So what we need is a main level area, which is our terrain, right? So we could even... yeah, we could even take these things, because this container doesn't mean anything to me now. Right, so we could just do that. And then the main level area would be our terrain. And we have objects, decorations, and we have this border wall, right? So we just need to change our border wall size to be 100. Okay, let's just select them all, make them all 100 in length. Okay. And now we just need to move them over. So this one should be at like 50. Right, is that right? Is that how I do this? 50 and 100.05, I think. Yeah, so that's fine. And 50. And then that one should be at 50 and 100.05. Right, so there's our border wall. Okay, so we can't go through that wall. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now the next part is actually I want to change the terrain so it's a little bit bigger. So this is going to be the playable area, right? But we need some decorations and stuff at the edges. So we make this 150 by 150. Should that be enough? Okay, so let's take this and let's move it to 50 and 50. No, not like that. 50. Ah, no, 25. What am I doing? 25 and 25. Okay. So that's our border wall. And this is our level area. Okay, let's just go back. Okay, I think in the level we also want our spawn points and stuff like that. So let's just see something. So our enemy camp spawn positions. are still going to be all over the place, right? Yes. Okay, so but effectively, yeah, this whole thing about the enemy camps and the spawn positions is pretty much going to go away, right? Yeah, yeah. All the code I wrote to do that is pointless now. Yep. Because that's not how I want that to work anymore. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, then also, where are all these trees coming from? Ah, that's on our grid. Okay, so maybe we want the grid. Is it literally just for the vegetation stuff? Okay, let's get rid of it, right? That doesn't sound like it's something we need. Indicators, not going to be useful anymore. Unfortunately. Okay, our nav mesh, let's bake it again. Yeah, okay. That's better. Okay, our camera, our player, game input, aim manager. Okay, I don't know why this is just not it. Okay, whatever. Event system, okay, canvas, our enemies. So we can take all these guys and just move them inside here. What is this big block? Oh, that's the crocodile boss. Spawn point. Let's move that to the middle there. Okay. Okay, so we obviously want to make this thing look better, but we have terrain, objects, decorations. We could add a grid. Okay, let's just do undo. Actually, do I even want the grid? I don't know. We can add it if we need it, right? Can the game even play now? It's very possible that it won't. Okay. But this seems to be working still. Okay, but yeah, we can't get out of there. Okay, so this is important. So I need to enlarge. Okay. You shouldn't be able to do that. Oh, you can just walk outside. That's interesting. I can't, but he can. Wonder why that is. Maybe I made it that way. So that if they, for some reason... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. They want to come to me, right? It's not like they want to go outside. They're after me, after all. Okay, but we need to make it bigger on the sides. Top and bottom seems okay, right? The camera can't actually see outside of this space. Okay, cool. Yeah, so our terrain needs to be bigger to the sides. Okay, so the width. Let's make it 200. Okay, and then we can make our border wall move to 50. Now we shouldn't be able to see outside of our terrain. Okay. Okay, so obviously this is a very straightforward one. Yeah, so what else do we want? So we want the terrain, obviously. Objects and things we want to put in there. Decorations. I don't really know what the difference would be between this and this. So let's get rid of that. Okay. What we need here as well would be spawn points. Right, so let's just add the border wall right there. So we have decoration spawn points. So within the spawn points. So, okay. How do we want to make the spawn points work? Let's think about this. So obviously it needs to be a point somewhere in the world at least. Right. Okay, so I want them to spawn on the edges and move to the center, obviously. Well, obviously, that is what I wanted to do. Okay, so one way we could do this is just by adding the buildings, right? Because we already have spawn points in our camps, for instance. But a lot of the functionality, I want the camps in there, but this spawn point, I don't think we're going to use it in this way anymore. And the reinforcement area will work similarly, but not exactly the same. So we want the spawn point and the reinforcement spawn area. Scripts. These two scripts need to be attached to the same thing, essentially, I think. Yeah. So we should be able to reuse those, I believe. Okay, so let's just add a spawn point. Let's just add one. Right, and we attach scripts, and it's going to be the spawn enemy spawn manager, and then the spawn enemy reinforcements. Righto. And this thing needs... Okay, so now we can go to our enemy prefabs. So it should get a small melee enemy prefab, a range bomber enemy prefab, and then the Komodo charge enemy prefab. Okay, so if we take this point and we move it, let's say, let's just say we put it over there, right? So that's going to be where our spawn point is. Spawn circle radius, I don't know, 5. Okay, we put a reference there. Okay, enemies. We'll look at that now. So spawn per 5 seconds could be 2 typically. Okay, spawn timeout. We might change the way the spawn manager works. So let's see, what list is this? Spawn transform enemies. Right, so it's just going to be, again, where do we use this? Do we use this at all here? Don't think we do. Yeah, we don't. We used to, but we don't use it anymore. So let's just get rid of this. Okay. Yeah, we'll rework the spawning system, I guess, in some way. Okay, spawn timeout in minutes. So let's say 2 minutes, right? Okay, so we have one spawn point. Now, technically, we could just duplicate these spawn points wherever we need them. And that should work. Now, I might change this so that the spawn points or the spawn manager is that one, and then we have points inside it. I think I like that more. So this would be the enemy spawn manager, right? And then we have spawn points inside. Okay, and these I think should be inside the enemy spawn manager, and then We just have a bunch of points and it can put them wherever those points are. Hey, this guy. Are you back? Were you even away? I don't know. You've been silent for an hour. Yes, I'm doing level redesign. I'm basically trying to... I'm overhauling the whole game loop, right? So the whole idea of how enemies were spawning and the camps and all that nonsense. I want to rethink all of that. I felt like I was limiting myself. And obviously that means I'm gonna get rid of a lot of the functionality I built. But I think this is gonna end up being a more playable game in the end, which I think is what I actually want to make, right? Yeah, the big problem, you can see this is already a much smaller level. The levels are going to be prefab, so I can make several of them if I want to. Or I can just load and unload the prefab if I want to do it that way. But effectively, the levels are much smaller. So you don't spend half a minute just running back and forth. And the spawning is just going to be around, right, the outside of our border. And we're not going to kill the totems anymore. I think this is going to be a more playable game in the end. Okay, so I think these things should move into the enemy spawn manager. So let's do that. Enemy spawn manager and spawn enemy reinforcements. We do this instead. Okay, and now we need to again. Okay, so this point does not need these components, right? So let's just remove. It's just literally just a marker somewhere in the world. The manager takes care of it, right? Okay, so let's see. Need our prefabs again. Okay, so we have our Komodo charge enemy. We have a ranged bomber enemy. That's not a ranged bomber enemy. And our simple melee enemy, right? Spawn radius circle. Let's just make it 2 enemies per 5 seconds. So obviously this number will be much higher. Let's make it 10, for instance. And then, okay, we call this function obviously. Okay, spawn timeout 2 minutes, let's say. Okay, so now I have one place that I need to change all these things if I ever want to change them. Yeah, but we want to make the spawn manager work differently now. So I think the spawn manager should now have a list of all the potential spawn points. And then it should effectively run through that list. And let's see. So we call spawn enemy reinforcements. Tell it which enemy we want to spawn. This whole spawning system actually needs to change. Yeah, that whole manager is going to function differently now. But I think this thing works fine. Right, it literally just spawns stuff. It doesn't need to know how many to spawn or anything like that. It just spawns things, right? And it gets a spawn position. Okay, so we need to change this transform. Yeah, so what it should get at least is a spawn point, right? So let's just make a transform here. Well, if I make this transform, wouldn't that then confuse it? Or does it know? Okay. That's cool. So now we need to, when we call the spawn reinforcements, we need to tell it how many enemies, which enemy, and where. That's perfect. Okay, so this thing is just working. I like that. This thing works well. So now the spawn manager just needs to figure all this out. We don't need the spawn point. Technically, we could put this inside of the spawn manager now, but, you know, it's fine. Okay. It does mean the crocodile can't spawn enemies anymore, which I'm fine with. I think I'm going to remove that anyway. Okay, so now all of these don't actually know where to spawn anything from. So let's see how this works, right? So first of all, we have our enemy progression. Okay, let's see. So our progression manager has an event that updates the enemies, right? So it basically updates the amount of enemies to spawn, effectively, right? Yeah. That's good. And the game manager just tells us, look, the wave timer just reset, so, you know, figure it out. So that just gives us a number. So obviously for each wave, more and more enemies will spawn. So I think that functionality works. Now I think I'm going to remove the spawn pool. Removing the spawn pool actually changes everything. So if I do one of those, we'll see what breaks. Just about all of this. And this experience from killing totem, so this is completely pointless now. Now obviously this is going to break something. Who references this? Okay, yeah, so destroy totem. This is never going to happen anymore. Yo. All this enemy building and stuff I did is going to be pointless now. Okay. So we just return just return 0. I just don't want any errors here. Okay, this stuff is going to go away. Okay. So how do we actually then spawn enemies? So we have a spawn timer. And this also goes away. So we don't have a spawn pool anymore. We just spawn enemies at some specified rate. Now let's see. We effectively just want this. Right? Okay, we don't want any of this stuff. So that's completely pointless now. Yeah. Yeah, this was accumulated enemies so that we don't do something weird with our spawn pool, but really we don't need to do any of this anymore. Okay, so let's think. Okay, so enemies per 5 seconds, right? That's still a thing. Don't know why we call it max, to be honest. Okay, we don't need any of this accumulation stuff. Spawn timeout, that's okay. Update number. What is this max about? So we get our enemies per 5 seconds multiplied by our wave multiplier. I don't know. Okay, let's just work with it. Okay, so we just round it down to an integer, because obviously this thing gets a bunch of other numbers that are not integers. Okay, so the only thing I think... Okay, why is this accumulation thing needed? Okay, so let's think about it. I think it is still needed because let's say we get 0.2 large enemies to spawn. It's just going to round it down to 0 every time the spawn happens. So maybe we accumulate, right, the enemies, and then we add, okay, and then we spawn. Yeah, we spawn the accumulated amount. Okay, so if you think about it, let's say we have 5.5 enemies, or 5.2 enemies to spawn, right? So accumulated is going to go like, oh, okay, cool. One spawn, 5.5, cool. Spawn 5 of them, or 5.2, so there's 0.2 enemies left. So then we should subtract the amount of enemies we just spawned, okay? Then accumulated small on the next one would be 5.4, and then we subtract again the amount spawned. So what we should do is we should do accumulated small minus the enemies, this integer, right? So we just subtract the amount of enemies that we just actually spawned, right? Yeah. And then it will keep on accumulating that that rounded part, and then eventually it'll, yeah, this is good. So we just need, whenever we calculate the amount of enemies to spawn, we need to effectively do this. But for medium, it's mostly a problem for larger enemies, typically. Just in case it's like a fraction. So I don't ever want there to be no large enemies spawning, because we're only spawning 0.1 per 5 seconds. At some point, you know, we get to the right place. Okay. So, spawning enemy reinforcements. We need to think about how we spawn these now. So, how many to spawn? Now we need to spawn them in various locations, right? So this is an interesting one, because if we divide them over, let's say, 10 spawn points, that's again gonna potentially change or leave a fraction behind, right? Which is kind of a problem. So how do we do this? We could take the accumulated enemies, divide them by the amount of spawn points, and then spawn it at that spawn point. So we first divide before we round. This is not that complicated math. I'm just thinking of a nice, elegant way to do this. What is the spawn timer? Oh, we just start at 4 seconds. So yeah, okay. Okay, so what we need is a list, I think, of so we do serialized field, and I need a private transform array. Call it spawn points, right? So we need a spawn points, and okay, let's write it out. So let's say how do we do that summary thing? I think it's a... There's a way you could do this, I know. Where did I do this again? I can't remember. You could do summaries, right? I remember you can do summaries. How does that work? It's like this. Okay. Let's copy that and let's put that in there. So we can do some math while you guys watch. Okay. So let's think about what we are doing here. Okay. So let's say we get enemies per 10 seconds or per 5 seconds. Let's say we want 20 small. Okay, so let's say it's a weird number. So it's like 24.8 small enemies. Then we say, but we have, let's say 5 spawn points, right? So that means we need to divide the enemies between the 5 spawn points. So 24.8 divided by 5. So we get 4 point, so it's 24.8 over 5, which equals 24. 4.96 enemies per spawn point. Now we round the 4.96, which gives us 4 and a 0.96 remainder. Okay, so let's think. So we round because we spawned 4. So 4 is spawned. Four is spawned, and we have a 0.96 remainder. So I think these need to go back into the spawn pool. So what we can do is we can do this is the accumulated small is equal to that. And then every time we round, we just add that to the accumulated small. And then we divide it by 5 again, etc., etc. Yeah, I like that. So this is not done. So we first divide by the amount of spawn points. And then we chuck that back into accumulated small. So what we do is we can have a well, it's going to be a float small enemies. So let's do small enemies per spawn point would be equal to accumulated small divided by the spawn points dot length, right? That'll work. Because spawn points dot length divided by, okay. So we just make sure all of this stuff of these are floats. Just cast it to a float and just in case anything happens. Because this might return an integer. I actually don't know what this returns. Yeah, it returns an integer. We just cast it to a float. Otherwise, it might already get rid of the remainder, and that could be a problem for us. Okay, so we do something similar for each of the enemy types. So we'll do medium and large. Okay, and then we do accumulated medium, accumulated large. Okay, then we can do a for each transform spawn point in spawn points, right? So for each of those, we have the amount of enemies we need to spawn. So for each of those, we can do spawn. All right, so we spawn. And what we need to spawn... Okay, we need to... Okay, we actually need to do this. And then spawn. All right, so we get rid of this stuff. Okay, so we calculate the enemies per 5. Okay, so now we are actually rounding this number now. Okay, and then we have this. So we subtract so let's say we substitute this. We're going to do this for each spawn point. We subtract. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's say we get our... So we can get 4.96, right, from this. Then we make it an integer. So it's 4. And we subtract 4 from our total spawn pool. So that means the 0.96 will still be inside our accumulated small. Yeah, that works perfectly. Okay, now we just need to... I want to rename this a little bit. So this is going to be small enemies per spawn point int, right? Something like that. I like that a little bit more. And then we can do medium enemies per spawn point underscore int. Okay, and here we can do large enemies per spawn point underscore int. Okay, that means... Alright, that just makes it a little bit better to read. Okay, now, spawn reinforcements, spawn reinforcements. So we get our integer, we tell it which enemy to spawn. So this is all small enemies. So no, we want some medium and some large, and this should be ranged bomber enemy in some cases and charged tank enemy in some other cases. But we need to transform, and we do just give it the spawn point. Right? There we go. And now it works. So on every update, we check. Okay, so this is just our calculation. Okay, so we check. Okay, are we actually at 5 seconds? Should we spawn some more enemies? And we set our spawn timer to 0. Then we go here and we say, okay, cool. Let's add all our enemies per 5 seconds to our accumulated enemies. Then we divide our accumulated enemies by the amount of spawn points we have available. And then we make it an integer, remove that from our pool or our accumulated enemies, spawn them, and then do that again in 5 seconds. So all of this nonsense can go away. Okay, this experience from killing a totem can also go away, but for now, it's there. Okay, so all of this, let's clean it up. So that's our new spawn manager. Okay, I see the update number is not really used. It's set there to 1. I wonder why is it not being used. Did I delete the wrong thing here? No. I did not. That thing doesn't use update number. So there's some other code here that we can probably get rid of. Let's go check. So we have 1 spawn point in this case, so all the enemies will have to come from there. Enemy spawn manager. Okay, wait, why do I not see? This list. Oh wait, we need a list, right? Yeah, this doesn't actually work. We need a list with a type transform. Yeah. You need this is serializable. The transform array thing doesn't actually work. Okay, so dot count. Okay. So we do a dot count here instead because length lists don't have length, they have a count. Just returns the amount of elements in the list. Okay, we save that. Let's see. So now we should be able to do nothing because we have a bunch of errors. Okay, so in our call for reinforcement script. Oh, okay. This is the crocodile calling for reinforcements. Right. So we're gonna have to do this a little bit differently. Yeah. Okay, no, it goes and gets camp. Where the hell did it even get that? Oh, enemy camps manager instance transform. Okay. Yeah, we make it an instance. I see. Okay. That's not gonna work anymore. The camp manager is gone. Okay, cool. So call for reinforcements just does nothing for now. Oops. Okay, we'll come back to this. But for now, I just want the game to actually work. So compile. Okay, that's very good. We actually shouldn't do this. Yeah. Yeah, no. We shouldn't do that. We should do this on start. So our list of spawn points, that's fine that we have those. But yeah, this is not a good way of doing this. We should on start rather go for each transform T in spawn points. Well, actually, now that I think about it, we could just do that instead, right? We don't actually need... So any spawn point... Yeah. We can just do this. For each transform spawn point in transform. Right, we just look in ourselves. Don't need any of this. Ah, no, wait. We need to know how many we have. So could we do... let's say private int spawn point count, let's say, and then we do spawn point count equals transform not child count. I think that works. So then that means I could actually just do that here, to be honest with you. Yeah. Well, we don't have to count it every time. We can keep it in there. Yeah, so we can just do spawn point count. Alright, so now we have the spawn point count. And then for each spawn point in transform, which would loop through all the spawn points. Okay, so we actually don't need a list of spawn points at all. Okay, we'll figure out how the crocodile actually does this a little bit later, right? I still want the crocodile to be able to spawn enemies. I just don't know how I'm going to do that yet, which is okay, right? It could be... So the crocodile will have his own level, right, if you think about it. So this is just the base level. So this level functionality should just work in general. And then later the crocodile could also have a level where he actually spawns enemies in some different way, right? That level might not do spawn enemies in this way at all, actually. Well, we'll see. Maybe it still does, right? But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So let's... Yeah, maybe the crocodile doesn't do that anymore, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, let's go here. So if I click play... Okay, so I'm super scared to click play, to be honest with you. Because I feel like it's just going to break. But anyway, we have one spawn point. Let's maybe just add a few more, just... Right, and let's just move them about... Okay, let's see. So that one's there. Okay, this one is in the same place. Let's move it on that side. Yeah, from there. Okay, so we have 5 spawn points, right? So let's see if this works somehow. So if we play... okay, let's just put this in debug mode. I just want to see if it got some of the things right. Okay, so the spawn manager should have a spawn point count of 5. Yes, and it does. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's see. Okay, it also... okay, it doesn't know how many enemies per 5 seconds yet. Should know soon though. Let's go to level prep. This might break it. It actually didn't. Okay, let's see. So enemies per 5 seconds is 11. We got 4.5 small, 5.4 medium, and 0.85 large. So our accumulated actually went negative for the small. That's interesting. So it rounded up then. Must have rounded up then. Yeah. That's interesting, actually. Very interesting. Okay, but you can see each point spawned one. Okay, so there's 5 small and 5 medium and none of the other ones. Ooh, you know what's going to happen now? The large enemies... okay, so we can play this. And we can watch this. So the amount of large enemies is quite small, right? Okay, I don't know what's breaking now. Oh, it actually spawned large enemies, but it went negative. Okay, that's interesting. It's already more interesting just because they're coming from all sides. I've died. And there's quite a lot of enemies. Okay, let's see. Where is this happening? Okay, we're stopping enemies, but they're not... okay. So this is the nav mesh problems that we've had. And I think it's because I didn't bake this again. Yeah. The baker should bake it, though. Why did the baker not bake my nav mesh? Was it not called? Rebuild nav mesh. Navmesh.build nav mesh. This should be happening by the game manager does this when show character level up UI. Oh, it might not do it the first time because there's an error in here the first time. So he might not get to this point. Okay, that is possible. Okay, but we can just bake it now. It should be fine. I don't know what the hell's happening here. Like, there shouldn't be any funny... oh, it's this line? Okay. That's interesting, actually. Interesting. Okay, let's play it again. Let's see what they do. Let's see if I don't get this anymore. I shouldn't. Okay, yeah, that is the menu not working right, okay? So we do expect that. Okay, let's take the Robin. Okay, so the Robin, obviously we can't go out here. And the enemies... oh, they're now stuck as well. Okay, they're not stuck forever, apparently. I don't actually know how enemies interact with this all the time. It seems like they got an interesting relationship with that thing. Okay, but they can go outside, right? Like, and there's still more than enough space to just run around and dodge the enemies, right? Which could be a problem, obviously. Might be too much dodging going on here. Ah, okay, that's an issue. Okay, so this looks like the small guys get stuck on the edges. And I can obviously exit the area. Oh, come on. Okay, so let's look at how this border is actually functioning. Yeah, so spawning works well. Okay, what are these walls actually doing? They are just a collider. We can exclude enemies, right? Enemies should be able to walk through them. Okay, let's look at the collider itself. Yeah. Okay, let's make the collider bigger. So it can just be a small little thing on the floor. Okay, let's just make it 10 and... No. And 20. Right, I think. And then I'm just gonna copy... Oh, you know what, I could have just done... this. You just select them all, make them all 10 by 20, and then I could just exclude enemies. So enemies can come through, I can't. Right? Yes. So let's see if this works the way I think it should. Okay. So here he comes. He just goes through it. They don't care. They can just run in. Obviously, so don't fight at the edges. That'll feel bad. And I should not be able to do a backflip to get out here. Okay, I can still do a backflip to get out there. So I need my backflip to collide, actually. Let's think about this quickly. So if I do my backflip, so what I'm thinking is, essentially what's happening is the character, so the ranger, for instance, when she does her backflip, her collider backflip, whoop. A collider is not really doing much, right? This freeze position, if I switch this off, I think the freeze position is the problem. Now I need that because other problems tend to occur. Let's just see. Now I need to do something with the player, maybe. I actually don't know. Yeah, okay. So first of all, I kind of just flew off the screen. Now, if I do a jump, I still... Okay, I can still... So that's not the problem. Ah, damn it. Okay, I just need to do a collision check then. For the wall when I do my backflip. And then just stop. So technically the ninja, I think he can also do this. So any character that has a way of traversing the environment that doesn't use the basic movement, like the duck and the... Okay, so he can do that and just ignore walls. This was always a problem with the trees, for instance. They could do the same thing with trees. Let's assassinate this lizard. Yeah, they could always do this with trees, which I was never happy about. But yeah, no, obviously. They should not be able to exit. Oh, interesting, actually. I don't think the bombers can... They can't throw their bombs through the wall. That's kind of good. Right, I think that's fine. So that, you know, they can't cheese you. Yes, these frogs are insane. Man, they keep just going overboard. I still have coffee. What a sad day. Okay. So the way I do collision for the characters is actually in their movement script, typically. Yeah, so in their movement script, if I showed you this, this is what I do. Yeah. So right here, I have a collision cost that goes and just checks a little bit ahead of... Oh, actually, do I do this? So I cast it slightly ahead of the player. And if I hit something, or if there's something in the way... Now, what the hell? Wait. How does capsule cost work? Okay, so that's... Oh, no, it's 2 points. Okay, so point 1 and point 2. Okay, so that would be like the height of the player. Okay. And then a direction, which is the move direction. Okay. And a distance and a layer mask. Okay. So I do this capsule cost to detect collision, right? So technically, I should still check this, I guess. Yeah, so for the Ranger special attack, obviously, when we jump, we just check. Well, we just move the player backwards. We don't actually check if we're hitting anything. We just move backwards, right? So special attack movement is called an update. But technically, we should check whether or not we can actually move. And if we can't, we shouldn't. Yeah, we actually move in the opposite direction from forward. So we could do this. Yeah, we should... Damn it. Damn it, man. I think we should just do a hard collision in this case. If you hit the wall, you stop. Which is not what we do here. But I think that's what I wanted to do on the wall. You just stop right at the wall. Yeah, so we just do a collision cost, and if we hit the... This one is the only problem, the move direction, but we can change it. So let's test it for the Ranger. So while we're jumping, we're doing our special attack. That's good. All that's nice. We get our player transform. We do something like this. So this would be the player transform, actually. So all of these transforms become player transforms instead of the character transform. And then our move direction would be basically this. So we can do a vector 3 move direction equals player negative player, right? Is going to be that. So we're casting this backwards. Hello, Mr. Human Limits. Goodbye, Mr. Human Limits. Okay, we cast it at some layer mask, right? So we could just get that layer mask again. So it was all this stuff. Apparently. I feel like I don't need to put all this stuff in here. But I'm gonna. Right, something like that. So we get our layer mask. We're like, okay, cool. These are the things we can't just jump through when we're moving. That's our... So, okay, we do all this. This thing returns... It would return... Oh, yeah. Physics.capsocast returns a boolean. So if it hits something, it returns true. So if... And then, okay, so we check that, and we have to do if we didn't hit anything, we can transform our position. Otherwise, we don't. Effectively, right? It could be as simple as that. Unfortunately, I had a lot of code that I could just copy and paste. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen here. I'm not 100% confident that this is gonna work, but I'm like 20% confident that it might work accidentally. Oh. That's perfect. Yeah, we can't walk through it, obviously. And now we can't... Yeah, if you try to jump against it, you just can't. It just stops you straight. Yeah, kind of like that idea. Okay, the amount of enemies I'm spawning is clearly too many. For the first level, definitely. Yeah, it's weird, because I feel like there might still be too much space. The fact that I could just kind of run around, never get hit by anything, except for the occasional Komodo, feels kind of bad. I don't know. It's not exactly how I want people to play the game. Like, if you want to not engage with the enemies or not fight them actively, right? I feel like you should be able to do that with a character that's super tanky. But if I just select a fast character and I wait for the timer to run out, like, I'm in no danger here. See what I mean? Okay, obviously I got bombed. You could get bombed accidentally, but I'm actually not in a lot of danger. Which I'm not sure that's what I want to have happen. So we still have some game design or game loop update stuff to consider, right? Okay, let's fix the ninja duck quickly as well. So his attack also does a couple of weird things. So we also need to find our walkable layer, I would say. And we need to check that collision with him as well. Okay, so we get our layer mask, walkable layer. And then here, when we do our spinning stuff, we effectively want to do most of the same things. Oh, we already got the player transform. So our movement direction would just be player transform dot forward. Oh, we actually... we don't need a move direction for this guy. But anyway, let's just... Then we should actually do move direction here as well. Right. Okay. So we check the collision cost, if it's fine. We do our thing. And I think we should do move direction here. Okay. So let's go see if he can exit the invisible barrier wall. I don't think he should be able to now. Yeah, he just gets stuck. Perfect. Yeah, so, okay. Here's my problem, right? He's a fast character. Look at me just not playing the game. Right, that's not good, right? Okay, so sometimes the small lizards could catch up to you, right? They are... Like, this is not something you can do in Vampire Survivors, for instance. Right? You can't just do this. They can't just all run behind you in some... a Congo line. You'll always run yourself into a wall of enemies eventually. And it's kind of the same with Rotato. Like, there are just too many enemies. Like, you can't realistically just run like this. No matter how fast you really get. I think in Rotator you could get fast enough realistically to start evading pretty effectively. I actually don't know. I haven't tried that. Just go for a speed build. So either movement speed needs to be way less, so that this is not possible. So actually, let's do that, right? So let's say we are the wizard, right? Let's see if the wizard can't do that. I don't think. He's too slow. He's obviously very powerful in other ways, but like, he can't just run. He needs to engage. He needs to fight somehow. Yeah, but the idea for the wizard even would be just run. Especially for those guys. I'm just thinking how would I manage this? Let's see. Okay, so technically, what if we just made this... Could we just make the border wall smaller? Is this a realistic thing to do? Oh, yes, it scales very nicely, actually. So what if we just made it, like, very small? Yes, I wish I knew I'd scale that nicely, actually. Okay, so now it's super tiny, right? We are still in it. Yeah, so we could just take the enemy, the player, actually, and just move him over there, so that we know we're always inside the spawn zone, at least. Okay, so let's try that. So this is now a very small spawn zone. So we're not gonna have a lot of wiggle room. So let's take our fastest character. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's quite a small arena. You can see from end to end. Okay. So let's see if I can realistically. So it's been 20 seconds. Let's say it's a, and I know you can do this in Brotator, right? You can definitely run around them for a little bit, especially if you do the circular thing. So they're gonna come from outside. Yeah, no, this is getting a bit hairy. I actually feel like I'm starting to get a little bit forced into thinning out the enemies. Like, this is obviously now a problem for me because I left it. So it's been a minute and I'm in the danger zone. These Kamados are insane. Let's get a professional in here. Let's get a professional. Yeah, we got a professional. He only does 1 damage, damn it. He's not professional enough yet. No. Okay, let's get the other professional in here. Komodo dragons are really a problem. I am actually curious. How are there that many? So, yeah, we've only accumulated negative 1.5. So it's not like it's actually that bad. It's... Yeah, so it rounded up a couple of times, obviously. But it's not like it's rounding up so much that we are actually somehow overproducing them, right? All of these seem like reasonable numbers to be plus or minus, right? Oh, and it is actually a large, that is a lot of enemies to spawn. Yeah, so it is actually spawning more than one every 5 seconds, so that makes sense. It's quite a high number. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of reassuring. So what we can do, so let's role play a little bit, right? So let's say this is the first level. Okay, we're on our first level, and the first level is small, right? And we can make them smaller, right? It doesn't matter. So what we do is we take our border wall and we can make this 0.2. Very small. 2.5, okay? And then we go to our spawn manager like, look, bro, it's the first level. We want like 2 enemies per 5 seconds, right? So it's going to be a... Now we just need to make sure that you can always engage with the enemies. But maybe we make this level only be small enemies, right? Okay, but this is kind of funny. Okay. Yeah, okay, so the frogs are a problem here. Because they'll actually just stand outside the wall and try to throw the bombs inside. Which they can't do, right? Okay, but this could be like level 1. It's not a lot of enemies. It might only be small enemies, actually. And then level 2, we can increase the size or add a few other enemies and stuff like that. I like that idea. I like the fact that we can actually scale these. Yeah, so we can definitely play with the scale. I think that's good. The other thing I think we should do is for the bigger areas, it might be good. Like, let's say we make our area, you know, just full size. We could, in bigger levels like this one, have it so that there are zones that kind of slow you down and stuff like that. So, especially for enemies that you can very easily kite. Right, so the frogs you can easily kite, right? But the frogs should be in a swamp. And what if the swampiness reduces your movement speed? Right? That'd be kind of interesting. So now you can't just run away from them, have them pile up in the middle. You need to actually engage with them. Yeah, I think we can work around this, but the fact that we can easily scale the level size makes it... I like that. Right, we don't have to do it programmatically or anything. We can make different level prefabs, and we can design the level with intent to make it balanced with the amount of spawn points and stuff like that, but we can scale them and design them so that it feels good to play. And that's kind of, I think that's a good idea, right? We don't just slap a bunch of generated content into the game. We craft the levels with some intent, right? To make it work well. Okay. So obviously we've lost a lot of the the niceties from our levels, but at least the game works still. Right, we still get the enemies, they still spawn on our base level prefab. Now, what we can actually do, well, this is actually what I think we should do, right? So we have a base level, we can work with that one. And then we can make prefab variants of the base level, and we could still fix this. It's not necessarily final, but I can make a prefab variant and paste it over there. And then all you have to do is just get a point inside there, which is the player's start point. And at the start of a new wave, you just move the player over and you activate that level's spawning. Right? And it's going to feel like you're in a new level, but it's actually just another one of these blocks, but we put it over here. And then we put another one there, etc., etc. I think that's going to be the best way of going about designing multiple levels, I feel like. And this size, I think like we don't need to go bigger than this ever. We can definitely go smaller still, but bigger is not required. I must say I'm quite happy with the way this is going and the direction we are heading in. I feel like this is gonna be much better. And what's also nice about this, because my wife is looking for something to help with, I could just ask her to make the levels look nice, right? She can make prefab variants of this. The code works, and now she can go and plant little... She can play her Sims game inside of Unity. Make a little building there with some flowers and stuff like that. So yeah. It's not a big level that you need to design. You just need to make it somewhat nice. Okay, we still have a lot of mechanics to fix, like the timer and stuff like that needs to be changed as well. We're not spawning camps anymore, etc., etc. So we need to figure out how the level actually progresses and how we end our levels. Yeah, because right now I don't think they'll end ever, right? Like, we can just play this level until we die, effectively. And there's no end to it, because we can't actually destroy... We can't kill all the enemies, unfortunately. Right, so we can start off... And we can make an effort. Yeah, I'm never going to be able to. I can't clear them fast enough. They spawn too frequently. Yeah. So the fact that we can't destroy a totem anymore means that, you know, it really becomes a survivor game. We need to have a timer on this. So what I'm thinking is, what if we could still have small little totems inside here that you could try and destroy. Obviously, destroying the totems could give you some kind of a item or something, right? So we could still have totems, right? So the totems don't have to go away forever. But what I think is, if you run to the top here, maybe we have like a big totem, which is where you planted the bomb, right? And that's the one that we're trying to blow up, essentially. And we're waiting for the timer to expire. Something like that, right? And let's just say these guys, they're not clever enough to defuse the bomb or whatever. They don't realize the danger. I got smacked. They don't realize the danger or whatever the case. Like, it doesn't have to make sense always in terms of the role playing, right? Or the lore or anything. We can make it make sense, right? We can think about cool things that makes it work. But ultimately, it's not strictly required. People will play the game if it's fun, and they'll suspend their disbelief for many other things, right? Like Brotato. Why are there aliens? Why, when this timer runs out, do they all disappear? None of this makes sense, right? But we don't care, because it's just fun to run around and kick their ass. Okay, so we'll have a similar type of idea. But I do like kind of rooting things in lore. I like to think about the story, and it would be cool to have some kind of a story going on and reasons for things happening. Guys, I think I'm going to end it there. It's been a good one. I think we've managed to do quite a few things today. So I'm happy. But yeah, I think I'm going to go have a Saturday. I need one. It was a rough week. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for a few more hours of level design stuff, or just rebuilding the game loop. All right, we can see if we can make the game loop closed again tomorrow, and then, you know, we can easily just design levels and stuff. And then this game is feeling like it's almost there, right? Like not done as in complete, but done as in demoable, right? I feel like, oh shit, I still need to do the UI. Never mind. We are very far from done or demoable. Anyway, guys, have a good one. See you tomorrow. Cheers.